Hi Gemini, welcome back to your new moon in Capricorn reading for January 21st, 2023. My name is Susie and this is the new moon, and this is Jupiter Rising Tarot Cafe. Okay, we're looking at new moon, so we're looking at a new cycle that's starting up for you. You have the Hermit card as your theme for the next 2 weeks. Aries got that card, so maybe you're working alongside an Aries, I don't know. But the Hermit is definitely a person who gathers information and then kind of goes off on their own to digest that information and come up with some amazing conclusions. It's turning knowledge into wisdom. And this can also pretend a time where you want to be alone more, or even if you're in a group situation, you have a tendency to be more internal. Or you may even want to withdraw from a group or from a situation. This is self-discovery as well, and it is a sort of a soul-searching. It's major arcana, which all the themes are, but that means that it's felt very much on an internal level, and the Hermit is just internal, period. He's on a search. He's on a quest. Okay, so what is the new moon bringing in for you for the next 2 weeks? Nice. You have the star card. I like that. Things are under a lucky star. The future looks bright. Information. This card always kind of, for me, it's a lot about information because for me, water holds information. And she's the waterman. This is associated with the sign Aquarius, and Aquarius is information, it's data. Oh, and you have the moon. So this can even be information coming from your subconscious. You really want to pay attention to your thoughts at this time. You could be a little bit nervous about the future or insecure or just not seeing it clearly. And this moon is probably going to have a big effect on you, I'm assuming, because here it is, a new moon, and here's the moon. And for me, the moon is also kind of a period where, especially for the first few days, before and after the new moon, things are just a little bit weird. Now, for me, that's usually a full moon, but it can be a new moon as well. New moons pretend new beginnings. But with the star card there, it's very possible that a new beginning is under a lucky star. And it could also be that a lot of things happen for you in the evening. So especially with that Hermit card, you can be out in the daytime doing your thing, but at night you really come and kind of come into yourself. You internalize a lot of things, and you can come up with a lot of information or be inspired. The star is hope. But I think it's more than that. I really feel like things are under a lucky star. And also with the star card, you're being led somewhere. And maybe it's really the subconscious that's leading you somewhere as well. The moon can be your fears. The dogs bark at the moon. There's nothing to fear with the moon. So it's kind of unfounded fears. We'll get clarity on that in a minute, but let's go further. For now, how are you dealing with the whole thing? You're the Knight of Cups, which is really nice. This is an emotional offer. It's usually a lot of fun, and it's joyful, and it's kind. If it's a person, they can be a little wishy-washy sometimes. They're the lamp on the head, dancing on the table at a party kind of person. But it can also be messages of love and information about love or emotions, emotional waters. And you have the Eight of Wands. So for me, that's also very much about communication. So there can be a lot of kind communication, but it's also things that they're kind of up in the air right now. They haven't landed. Things are focused. They're all going in the right direction, but they haven't landed just yet with the Eight of Wands. Which is why we could have the star here, because in the future things look good. But at the moment, they're the moon. They're unclear. They're still up in the air. They're still a little bit vague. Okay. And let's go a little bit further, as the result of this is Two of Swords. I always think of this card as a scissor that something needs to be cut off, but it's also the ability to hold two opposing thoughts simultaneously, which makes it difficult to cut something off or to make that decision. Ooh, and you have another two. So two is always decisions. And the High Priestess. So here's something interesting about the High Priestess and the Moon. First of all, they're both very lunar oriented, right? She's the Moon. But they sit in between two polarities. And this as well, same thing. And these two cards even refer to each other, actually. And it is, again, holding those two opposing forces, being in the center of two opposing forces. And it is like sort of the Buddhist way of thinking of the middle path, not going too extreme on either side, but staying centered, or the middle path. The High Priestess, again, can be things that are going on behind the scenes that you may not be aware of, which can also be quite difficult to make decisions then. Or if you do make a decision, it is later on you can be, well, I wasn't fully informed, so, I'm not so sure about that. But you have 3 times the moon. So for me, I feel like this new moon is going to be quite important for you. Or it's going to be very internal, and it's going to affect you quite a bit. Now with the star there, you have 1, 2, 3, well, even. You have 3 major, 3 minor. But let's see what's going on further. All right, let's get some clarity for the first row, which is what's coming in for you. And you have the 9 of Wands. Yeah, see with that, the moon and this 9 of Wands card, it's kind of being on the defensive a little bit because you don't see it clearly. Even though you may be hopeful and being led in a particular direction, because you don't see it clearly, because it's not solid just yet, or there can be factors around it that that are not solid. And here's the thing with the 9 of Wands. This person, we call this card the walking wounded card, because these are all the battles he's been through. And he's kind of in a defensive stance of, all right, give it your best shot. I'm ready. I'm ready for anything. And the interesting thing about this card, and I think that fits even more with this, the star card and the moon, is that you are right on the precipice of what you want to happen. So it's like people who have been out in the desert and they get lost in the desert and they keep walking and they keep walking, often give up right before they hit the road. And it's kind of like that energy. I'm not saying you're going to give up, but I am saying that we kind of lose momentum, or we kind of, at some point, right before it's almost going to happen, we almost give up. And that's kind of what the moon and the 9 of Wands is giving me. It's giving me that flavor. I'm not saying you're going to do that. It just kind of is like we're battle worn, I've walked along through the desert now. Enough is enough. So But it is that you are right on the precipice, and it's a number 9. So 9 is the accumulation of the entire fire cycle, or the wand cycle. And so we are coming to that end there. And things are about ready to shift. But we just don't see it yet with the moon. It means we don't see the road. The road's there. You can even see it here. There's the path. There's the road. But we're paying attention to something else. Keep hope alive, I would say, with this. Okay, so let's get some clarification with the Knight and the Eight of Wands. I really feel like this is a lot of loving communication. Maybe even invitations to go out and have fun. Certainly invitations for even just calling or texting or emailing, that kind of thing. Oh, you have the Hermit card again. That's interesting. I'm going to say the same thing. I really feel like it's such a push-pull energy, because the Knight goes out and has a great time. The Eight of Wands is out in the air. It's active. It's doing something. And the Hermit just wants to be internal. The Hermit just wants to go in his room and read the books or digest the information. So it's a very push-pull kind of energy. Interesting. The information that you do receive, however, could be, so from these communications, could be what it is you're looking for. Or because the Hermit is searching for something, when you go out, if you are invited out, those could be the moments when you actually get information. And then afterwards you can come home and digest it and figure it out. But maybe it's that very activity of going out and communicating and having a good time where you actually get your answers. How interesting. What a strange energy. Okay. I know the Hermit energy very, very well, and it's my life path. So I am definitely not somebody who wants to be in the company of a lot of people all the time. But the Knight of Cups and the Eight of Wands are very active cards, both of them. I'm going to pull another card for the Knight. The Devil. It's very tempting. It's very tempting to go out with the Devil and the Knight. The only thing is, I would say, be mindful of drinking too much or partying too much with the Knight of Cups. Like I said, he's the guy dancing on the table with the lampshade on his head. You know, you can get kind of carried away with that. And the Hermit is Virgo. It's practical. It's not over the top. It's not going too far. And this can also be temptation where, you know, people are concerned. A Knight of Cups is definitely a charmer. A player, I would say that's more of the Knight of Wands, but it's also very possible. And with the Devil card there, yeah, it's very possible. Okay. But in any case, the Devil is saying, release what is not good for you anymore. And it could be very well that when you are out, you will see that. Okay. And then it makes sense with the Two of Swords, because the Two of Swords wants to cut something off. And if you're wanting to cut off the Devil, something that is no longer good for you, you can probably make that decision then. What you have left is the Ten of Cups, which is happy home, faith, and the gold, the pot of gold at the end of the rainbow. It's really happy home, happy family, having faith. It's interesting because I really do feel like middle of the path brings you that staying centered and not going to extremes. Brings you kind of the ultimate happiness. It can seem kind of boring to some people, but in this case, it sort of brings you some emotional stability. It brings you emotional fulfillment with the Ten of Cups. And it also teaches you not to see things through rose-colored glasses. So if there is somebody around that you don't trust, or that you've kind of been giving them the benefit of the doubt, especially with the Two of Swords, maybe you see things differently after you've digested information. Maybe you have to choose between a couple of people on a romantic level or even a business level. And you can see things for what they really are. The High Priestess is what's going on behind the scenes. It's your intuition. And with the Two of Swords there, I think that's something that's going to lead you to cut something off that brings you a lot of happiness. And that can be things that are bad for us. It could be bad habits, wrong people, wrong situations that are not in our favor. With the Devil there. The Devil wasn't prominent, he was just quite a secondary card. But I still feel like there's this search for you. And again, your main card is the Hermit card. And so we really are seeking out those things that bring us back into balance. Or, like I said, turning knowledge into wisdom. So, what does Spirit want you to know? I think this plays out quite generally because there could be a lot of different scenarios for a lot of different people. I don't even know that I'm getting one particular storyline here, other than something very kind of, I don't want to say vague, because it's not vague, but it's just not specific to a storyline. You have the King of Cups. The King of Cups. This is what Spirit wants you to know. The King of Cups is my Cancer card. They are the master of their emotions. Now this goes quite well with the the Knight of Cups and the Devil. And so if there is any attachment to substance, this is getting that together. That's for sure. That's getting that under control with the King of Cups. But it is also mastering our emotions, and that can be this as well, when we get over emotional about something, and that can lead us astray. The King of Cups brings it back to reality, and he is the calm in the storm. Yeah. So I think that's where you're headed, or what you're working on, to be honest with you. And if it is a person, I feel that he's moving in that direction. So I feel like there's some happiness there. Interesting. Okay, I hope this has been helpful. I will be back in 2 weeks with a full moon reading. In the meantime, enjoy this for 2 weeks, 2 to 4 weeks, and work on whatever it is you're dealing with here. It's under a lucky star, so I think that's quite good, and you have the Ten of Cups with it. So all's well that ends well. Thanks for listening. I'm doing dailies. And like I said, I'll be back in 2 weeks. Thank you for listening. It's very much appreciated. Enjoy. Bye.